Hello and welcome back to Card Salad. It is day 3 of Monarch spoilers. And before we get started, I just want to say if you are watching these and leaving comments below, we've had a couple people. We really appreciate that. We thank you a lot. It really helps us keep going on these. If you like these videos, consider subscribing because we're going to be putting one out every day until spoiler season is done. And give us a like. Maybe tell some other people that there's some decent flesh and blood creators out there. We would really appreciate it. But let's get to day 3. Where's Woohoo?
The decent flesh and blood creators.
They're out there. Just tell your friends that there are some out there. But you're lying. But you know it gives the rest of the community hope that they're out there. Okay, day 3 spoilers. We're still going on Brute, and I hope this is the last day of Brute. There's more Brute cards, but I hope we're gonna start seeing another class. So what it seems like they're doing is starting with Brute, sprinkling in some generics and some shadow cards, and they're gonna like flush all of that out in a row, and then it'll move to the next hero. And so I'm thinking throughout the month we'll see hero by hero the cards unfold. And I'm just not really a Brute player, and you can only talk about 6 attack cards so much. So I'd just like to see some other stuff.
What about 8 attack cards?
But yes, of course, if we look at the card in front of us, Deadwood Rumbler. This is the red version, 3 mana, 3 pitch, 8 damage. It's a common. It cannot defend. It is a Shadow Brute attack action. Draw a card, then discard a random card. We've seen the mechanic already. If a card with 6 or more attack is discarded that way, banish a card from a graveyard. That's important. A graveyard, not your graveyard. Blood Debt at the beginning. Or obviously, we know what Blood Debt is. So this is interesting. It's just 3 damage, and you can banish. You can banish an important card that you need to get. So if you're obviously the only Shadow Brute we have right now is Levia, and this would be a really good effect if you need to cancel out Blood Debt this turn. But potentially this could target something in your opponent's discard pile. But I don't know any examples off the top of my head as to why you would do that. You could
another Shadow Brute.
Not even Runeblade. Crown of Dichotomy.
What does that do?
You break it and pay 1. Put target Runeblade attack action and target Runeblade non-attack action from your graveyard on top of your deck.
Okay. Yeah, I know there's a few effects in the game that do allow you to like recover something from the discard. So potentially you could stop an opponent's play, burn an asset that they may have wanted to reuse at some point. But also you could put more Blood Debt cards in an opposing shadow player's banish zone. So let's say you're against a shadow hero that's not Levia, and you like they don't really have a way to cancel Blood Debt. They need to be very careful with their Blood Debt. It's more focused what they're doing with Blood Debt, and you just start throwing extra Blood Debt cards in their banish zone. Could potentially sneak a decent amount of extra damage throughout the game by doing that. And this is 8 attack. That is nothing to scoff at for sure. Like we already talked about how good 7 damage is. 8 damage is just that much better, and you can easily give this dominate.
Even the blue pitch, if this does have blue and yellow, it would still be a 6.
Yes. Yeah, that's crazy.
Solid.
I think you'd probably run the red and the blue ones in your deck.
Yeah.
And so for just all of that this card has going for it, I'm going to give it.
We got new tech today, just so you guys know.
Oh, yeah. So to save myself a lot of editing time, I'm going to be using Epic Pen here to draw our scores on the screen. It doesn't look as good, but it's helpful to us. I'm on the edge between a 9 and an 8. Because I feel like you're just like Shadow Brute. You just put 6 of these in, like you just do. And because of that, I am gonna give it a 9. Looks more like most of a stick person.
Yeah, it looks like a sad stick person.
Mitch?
I'm also gonna go with a 9. I was leaning towards an 8, but I can't find a reason to really knock it down to an 8. So yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm also on the fence there because it's good hate. It's gonna require a blue pitch basically. But it's good hate. It's good damage. You don't have to use it for hate. You can also use it on yourself.
Yeah,
No defense,
a lot
but
of
it's
versatility
a
with
strong
it.
card. Yeah.
There's not a lot, but it's got versatility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like it.
Very good. So I want to I want to just reiterate that a 10 would be busted, broken as hell. Like it's in every deck that it can be in, and it really is kind of like, man, that card is just gonna ruin my day. I think Enlightened Strike might be a 10. I think Command and Conquer might be a 10. And there's probably a couple more cards out there that are just kind of like, I mean, any card you go where it has a Tunic. Tunic's probably Tunic's a 10. Any card you go to purchase and you're like, it's $150 for the unlimited non-foil version. You're like, that's a 10. That's a 10 card. That's the power level of a 10. So I don't expect for us to score many 10s. Yeah, this is the one that was like, this is gruesome artwork. It's horrifying.
To be honest, I really like it. I think it's really cool.
I mean, it's certainly very thematically horrifying, but man, is it over the top gruesome.
I'm not gonna sleep tonight.
Okay, this is a Shadow Brute attack action, 2 cost, 6 damage. As an additional cost, you play Dread Screamer, banish 3 random cards from your graveyard. If a card with 6 or more attack banished this way, it gains Go Again. Who?
There's some Go Again for Brute.
There is, that is. So I'm gonna just go ahead and give this a 9 with a 2 pay. It is. Go Again is extremely strong in a class that's doing 6+ damage on every attack.
Mm-hmm.
It only costs 2.
It's not guaranteed though.
It is not guaranteed, but like we've already discussed in the previous 2 reviews, it's probably going to be fairly consistent to hit that 6 when banishing 3 cards from your graveyard.
They are making it a lot easier to just fill your deck with 6
because like all of the cards, all of the cards they're showing are 6
they're giving us a gigantic pool of 6 attack cards that are just so good. You're just like, I just put that in and I don't really see a downside. This one even blocks for 3.
Yeah.
Oh, Bryn.
Yeah, this is a 9. 9
Temple Put, easy choice.
Yep.
9. Yep. We got another 9 over here.
All right.
Dread Screamer. Nice. Get that off of my screen.
I think it's a very straightforward card. I don't think there's too much more to really say about it. So
yeah, it's.
I thought that said Mutated Ass.
Hold on, let me. Where's the white color? Oh, I don't have white.
Okay.
So we got.
Oh.
Yeah, this one is very interesting. This is a first. This is a new mechanic.
I like it.
New mechanic. This is a majestic, so it's only blue, which is also good. 1 cost, which is also very good. Asterisk damage and asterisk defense. It is a shadow attack action, so expect to see this in many scenarios going forward with more shadow heroes. You may play Mutated Mass from your banished zone. Even better, you don't have to have it in your hand. Mutated Mass's attack and armor is equal to twice the number of your cards in your pitch zone with different costs. And it has Blood Debt.
Interesting. So I wonder. say you have a red, blue, and yellow in your pitch, and this is in your hand. You banish this from your hand. Does it
different
count as a
costs.
6? Oh,
Different costs, not
Oh.
different pitch value.
that's much better. But if you have something with 1, 2, and 3,
Yeah.
you banish this from your hand for something that needs to banish something 6 or higher. Wonder if it's going to count. Is it going to read
gonna
the
say
card, which is
no.
0,
Wait,
or is it going to read what the current value? You would think
Mutated
so.
Mass is equal to twice the number of cards in your pitch. What you're saying? If you need to banish this to activate an effect?
Yeah.
That is a good question.
I'd imagine it's going to count as 0, but, you know, who knows?
I feel like.
Go ahead.
I feel like the attack and defense won't come into play until you actually like play the card itself.
I'm on the other side. I feel like this is retroactive. Just whenever you're playing cards into your pitch zone, this is changing wherever it is. Because it's not like an on play effect. It's not an instant effect. It's not a reaction. It's like, I don't know. It just, you may play it. Mutated is equal to. I just, that's how I'm reading it.
Yeah.
Nothing is explicitly telling me that that's not the case, but I could see it going either way as well. In any case, I find it a little hard to evaluate this because I'm just like, I'm not sure how easy it is to get different cost cards, how frequently you're going to be maxing that out. Let's say on average you get 2 different cost cards in your pitch zone. So what is this?
4 for
4. And you can play it from your banish zone. And so so in that scenario, this would be the ghostly visitor, right?
Yeah.
This is in your banish zone. You pitch 2 cards and you play a different card. You play something that has go again, and I'm going to go back to Scar for a Scar again. Why not? So you play a card. You've pitched you pitched to pay for it already, or other actions you're taking, maybe swinging with your weapon. And then you have 1 left over, and you've already pitched, and it's now this is a 4 for 1. Or if you somehow had a bigger turn, you got 3 cards in your pitch zone. This is a 6/6. So I think it's just a fairly solid option.
Got some good versatility for sure.
Yeah.
In Magic, there is cards. Their effects, Tarmogoyf, power and toughness is equal to the number of different types of cards in your graveyard. Is a state or not a state-based effect? All the time. If it's in your deck, it has that power. If it's in your hand, it has that power. If it's in your graveyard, it has that power. So if it's the same, because it's worded on there as just this card's factual power and defense are that. So it could be that it counts for that, which could make some pretty interesting stuff happen.
Yeah, I feel like it's dynamic, and if it is dynamic, then it also becomes searchable with certain cards. Like, I can't remember if one of the cards we saw searches for a 6 attack. I think it was just a blood deck card, but and then like you mentioned, like banishing a card with 6 attack or more, this can become a card that you banish for that much, and then you can play it from the banish zone, and it still retains that attack value.
Also to note, say you have a 4-card hand. This is in your banish zone. You have a 0, 1, 2, 3. You don't want any of these cards. This is a clean up your hand and hit for 8.
You cannot pitch them all for. You're only paying 1 though. You have to find a way to pitch them. You can't. You can't over pitch. You can't go, I'm pitching 7 to pay for 1. You can pitch a blue. You can pitch a blue to pay 1, but you can't go, I'm going to pitch a blue and a yellow to pay 1. As far as I know.
Okay.
But maybe you could be paying
all
for
these for Mutated Mass.
You could potentially pay for your weapon or something like that. I'm not sure what else. I do feel it's going to be very tricky to get 4+ on this, but on occasion when you do, this is just a very good card.
I mean, I kind of feel like it wouldn't even be one that you just kind of plan out. Like I'm trying to play for Mutated Mass.
It's just
like
kind of just like
you're just like, oh, I managed to get 4 in my pitch, and I have a floating resource. By the way, I'm just gonna use Mutated Mass because I have Go Again, or it very just like
Yeah, I
I
don't
managed
think
to
you
use
go
it.
crazy for this. I don't think you really plan your deck or turn around this, because you'd be paying 4 cards to attack for what, like 8?
8, yeah,
And we just saw a 3 for 8 that has a good effect.
yeah.
So, and that was like pitch a blue. This is pitch a like, pitch 4 cards essentially.
You had a really good turn. Let's make it even better.
Correct. Yeah, I think this is a icing on the cake kind of card, or just something, you don't have a better play, you can play this from the banish zone. I'm curious if you can defend with it from the banish zone. It says you may play, so I don't think so, but when
Yeah.
is this armor value ever effective?
Managed to be the last card in your hand.
You defend with it, and then
Oh yeah, you could
pitch
defend with it and it
for
evolves.
unmovable or something. Then you're blocking for like 12, 13, 14.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's another thing that evolves during like the defense phase, but in
Yeah.
a different way, because you do need to be
It's
paying.
not usable for dominate, but
Right. You have to combine it with a defense reaction, something else you're paying for, or paying. You could pay for an instant as well. You could just burn an instant out of your hand, like a shadow instant, to get stuff in the pitch zone to have a better defense. And
Yeah.
then it goes to your discard, and then you banish it, and then you can play it again from your banish. This is very versatile. But its power level is not super high, but the versatility is gonna put it at an 8 for me.
I'm gonna go with a 9.
I want to give it a 6 because it's going to be very small splashes if it does.
I'm just very curious to see if it will have a red and a yellow pitch.
It's a majestic, so I'm assuming no.
Oh,
7.67.
yes, you were right. So yeah, now that I realize that, I'll drop it to an 8.
Damn it, Mitch.
Change your math. Nice backwards B there.
7.3.
Okay. Card salad score of 7.3. Beautiful.
Right.
Moving
We got
on.
next.
We have
Boneyard Marauder.
I actually want to show real quick. Oh, there we go. We'll just we won't rate.
Art?
Yeah, we won't
Oh.
rate the art on this.
Promo.
Or maybe we will. So this is what you get with the Team Covenant First Edition boxes. Every box you buy, you get a rainbow foil of this alternate art Boneyard Marauder, which is pretty sweet. I think this was the alternate art, and this is the original art, which is also very good. But Boneyard Marauder costs 1. It is a Shadow Brute attack action, 6 damage. So we're already at 1 for 6. Amazing. As an additional cost to play Boneyard Marauder, banish 3 random cards from your graveyard, and it has Blood Debt. So
that's a really good card.
It is a really good card, but you're not gaining an extra effect from banishing 3 random cards in your graveyard. You are just, which sometimes, there are cards, we know you want to put some cards in your graveyard or in your banish zone from your graveyard. And it will, if you hit a 6 attack, you will trigger your Leviathan ability. But this one, I feel like is more of a negative than a positive. You are paying 1 for 6, but you're diluting. You could be using up your 6 attack things in your graveyard when you want them to activate effects on other cards. So I feel like this is kind of like tightening up your pool, your graveyard pool, at the cost of because you're getting to pay 1 for 6. I feel like it's a negative here.
I feel like it's too negative. I mean,
it's not too negative. It's not, but it is like if you hit 2 6 attack cards, and you didn't activate a bonus effect on this card, then your next card that maybe wants to hit banish a 6 to gain +3 attack and dominate or something like that. Then you just took away some options that card had.
Yeah, I mean, it does activate Levia,
It does.
so
And
that's
alternatively,
nice.
if your discard was very small, you play this early in the game and you don't really have any 6 attack cards in there, then you don't really care.
Yeah,
So
I
it's interesting.
I actually think it's pretty good because it's 1 for 6. It's got 3 defense, but it also you can almost guarantee you're gonna want to fuel your banish zone at some point quickly and easily, and this does that
yeah,
while also just throwing 6 damage on the board.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you got stuff in your hand where you're like, man, I really want to get that into my banish zone, like
With
ASAP.
Levia's ability, kind of foreshadows for us that they're going to make some reason to have a lot of things in your banish zone that have blood debt,
Hmm.
and this can make that happen fast while also
So
throwing a 6.
here's what I'm curious about. So we keep assuming that you want a ton of cards in your banish zone. Some of them do want to be there because they can be played from there, and other cards will allow you to play cards from the banish zone. But not you don't want every card in the banish zone. So what Levia does is like you can consistently throw tons of cards in your banish zone and not worry about blood debt. But keep in mind, this Boneyard Marauder could be putting more blood debt cards in your banish zone that don't have any business being there because they don't have extra effects or can be played from there. And so you're just increasing the risk of missing a turn of turning off blood debt and then having like a 10 damage blood debt turn.
But that's what I'm saying
Yeah,
is if you don't want to stack blood debt in your banishment zone, then Levia becomes once again more useless.
Hmm.
Because if you're only wanting to keep 1 or 2 in
Well,
there at a time, then Levia's ability is fairly unnecessary.
sure,
yeah,
but also consider that the blood debt cards are supposed to be extra powerful because they have that drawback. So like you want to play the most powerful cards and they happen to have blood debt which she can turn off, but then it's like cards like this are increasing the risk if you are to miss a turn of turning it off. Cuz like some of these cards that have blood debt are kind of just like bigger numbers than some neutral cards you would consider, but you're obviously going to play the class specialty one that has extra damage at cheaper cost or something like that, but it has blood debt, and then it ends up in your banish zone with things like this, and then it just kind of builds that risk over time. That's kind of what I feel is the balancing act here, is that you get these crazy. I mean, all of 1 for 6 is insane, right? There has to be a catch here, and I think that that's the catch, is that you're building risk throughout the game by putting way too many blood debt cards in your banish zone, which is sometimes a positive, but when a ton of them get in there and most of them are not, they don't need to be in there, then things get really dicey. I'm gonna give it an 8. I think it's obviously 1 for 6 is crazy good, and you can get some positives from banishing certain cards. Um, it's also a 1 attack card, or a 1 cost card, which means Snapdragon Scalers can give this go again. Razor Reflex can give it +3. Um, so this is a very good card. I'm gonna put it at an 8.
I
uh,
just think about a triple barraging beatdown or double barraging beatdown into a Boneyard Marauder. Then it's
Ooh.
14 for 1. You know,
What does the barraging beatdown do? Is it
it's
just plus
0.
damage?
The next brute attack action gives +4 if it's blocked by less than 2 non-equipment cards. And intimidate.
Mm.
Go again.
the
I think it's a
only
9.
other kind of downside to it that we haven't been talking about with any of the uh, cards that happen to banish from your graveyard is if you don't have anything in your graveyard, you can't use it.
You can't use this on turn 1 for sure.
Yeah, if you've already banished a bunch of cards into your banish zone, and like you're like, oh crap, I have only 2, and I don't have a way to get them into my graveyard until they defend. I have to wait till next turn to be able to use this card. So now it's a dead card in hand.
Right. If half your cards in your deck banish 3 cards from your graveyard, it's kind of hard to keep that many cards in the graveyard.
Yeah. So I think I'd have to give it an 8 for that. Not something I was really thinking about with all these things getting banished.
8.3.
The old card salad rating, your CSR.
Not
Beautiful.
on the screen.
Oh. And there's the alternate art. Some more tentacles.
Discard.
Deep-rooted evil. This is a majestic. It costs 3. Pitches for 2. 6 attack. Shadow Brute attack action. If a card with 6 or more attack has been put into your banish zone this turn, you may play Deep-rooted evil from your banish zone. And it has blood debt. If a card with 6
Kind
or
of
more attack
underwhelming.
has been put into your banish zone this turn, you may play it from your banish zone. So you can play this. You can. Yeah. Why don't we start with you, Bill?
It's just a 3 for 6. Straight up. I mean, that's all there is to it. With the potential of coming out of your banish zone as well. But you'd have to play something with Go again. That puts something with 6 or more in your banish zone. Seems pretty lackluster compared to a lot of the other cards.
Mitch?
Obviously, not all of them can be bangers, but
I don't think it's the nuts. I don't think it's like going to be in every single deck, but I think it could be very consistent. I think we were both watching the Team Covenant stream when they were talking about it. They were, talking about just being able to move from your banish zone to your graveyard to being able to play, and it's just like you got a pretty consistent way to put, a potential consistent way to be able to play a 6 attack card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's the thing about this card, right? Like that's why it's majestic, is because it's basically I can't recall a card that does the same thing. It's basically a card you play forever. So you can play it from your hand. That's fine. 3 for 6. It's like whatever.
It's gonna be banned.
It has it has it meets triggers for brutes. It's another 6 attack card. So it can do stuff like that. It pitches for 2, which is better than some of the other 6 attack cards we've seen.
Can't defend though.
Oh, it cannot defend, right? But like you play this and then it gets banished, and then yeah, you can just always have access to a 6 attack card. So it can come. You can like have a turn where you defend, and then you just have a blue in hand, and you pitch and play this from your banish zone, like a couple other cards we've seen as just kind of a. I need to do something. Like I need to take some of your cards out of your hand, so I'm gonna throw this 6 at you, and then it goes to your graveyard, and then you can get it back. It'll be more banish fodder and go back into your. And that's kind of the name of the card, right? It's deep rooted. It doesn't. It's so you can't get rid of it. It just keeps coming back. But yeah, it is 3 for 6, which is really underwhelming. So this is like, I'm kind of feeling really negative on it because there's just so many 6 attacks to choose from that have better effects. I don't know that you're really like, I need this option in here, because you're like, I feel like you just didn't build your deck well enough. If you're like, on occasion, I need to use Deep-Rooted Evil just because I have nothing going on. But at the same time, it is just a 6 attack you can play from not your hand, which is powerful on its own, for the reason of like if you have a low card hand. It is like on the underwhelming side though. I'm gonna give it a 6.
I'm also gonna give it a 6.
we'll give it a 3.
Ooh.
I think a 3 for 6 with no effect would be a 1. So
A 3 for 6 is a 1.
yeah, with no effect.
Like vanilla.
Yeah, vanilla 6 for 3. I mean, it's 5.
The score is 5.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm like the point O is off the screen. Doesn't even matter. All right, 5.0 Deep-Rooted Evil. You heard it here, folks. This card sucks. This card's very average. You hope it's cold foil? It might be a cold foil. Sorry for this one. It's very blurry. Soul Harvest. This is a legendary Leviah specialization, meaning you can only have one in your deck, and your hero has to be Leviah. This is a 6 cost, pitch, 3 pitch, 6 attack, shadow attack action. Kind of confused why it's not a Shadow Brute attack action, because you can only be Leviah, but I guess it doesn't really matter because you can only be Leviah.
And I wish they wouldn't call it a legendary Leviah specialization when it's a rare card.
Also
what
very
if that means
curious.
They're going to
They could
different
print
Leviah.
They could
Probably.
do that. But what? But then you ask the question of lore wise, what makes a brute?
That's a good point.
Because so at first I thought a brute was the race. I thought they were like the ogre people, but
Yeah.
But she's a human. She used to be a human, and she's a brute. So I don't know if a brute is just like a class. Like you're just like, I'm just someone who hits hard. I'm a brute. But yeah, they could print other Levi. And I have heard. So you know how we were talking about how heroes, when they win 10 events, they get retired.
Yeah.
Team Covenant said some interesting things along the lines of like, cards are worded in a way where what's it? Viscerai specialization. It is not a it just says Viscerai. It just says you have to be Viscerai. So like if he got retired, but then they reprinted him as a they could retire base Viscerai and remake him into a light Viscerai or a shadow Viscerai, and his specialization would still work. His Arcanite specialization. So that could potentially be why they word it like this. It is a shadow action attack. But that would also mean she's only ever going to be a shadow.
Oh, yeah.
But she could change from a brute.
A very light hate card. So this would only be a shadow card. It utilizes blood debt. It gets rid of things out of the soul. So that's probably why it's a shadow action. But I see what you're saying. That does. We'll see what they do.
A little weird. It's extremely weird that it's a one of card and it's a rare. I feel like they had more ideas for powerful cards, but they were like, we already used too many legendary slots or majestic slots, and so they put this in the rare slot. But let's see. As an additional cost,
only a 12.
As an additional cost to play Soul Harvest, banish 6 cards from your graveyard, and you get to choose. It's not random. It gains it gains +1 for each card with blood debt banished this way. If Soul Harvest hits a hero, banish all cards from their soul, and they lose life equal to the number of cards they banished. Cards banished this way. So yeah, you could, if you have 6 attack cards. Oh wait, again for each. Oh, blood debt. Sorry, but it's blood debt cards. If you banish 6 blood debt cards, you're doing 12, which is obviously very difficult to block for.
And you make sure to hit at least 1 6, so you don't take the damage.
Right. And you can give this dominate, right, with that one card, with a couple cards probably, but specifically there was one where the next attack you do gains +3 and dominate, right? So this could be like a 15 with dominate. That if it hits a light hero, it destroys their soul and does extra damage. It's very good.
That's going to require a big turn, but that's a big card.
Yeah. So 6 pitch. So you got to pitch 2 blues or have energy potions or some other kind of pitch boosting shenanigans. So it is difficult to like pair this with other cards, but this could be in your arsenal, and then you could pull off the the other card that's going to give this dominate or buff it, and like
imagine getting this off in Blitz format. Oof.
I think it just reads you win if you're up against a light hero. If you manage to play it.
It's very good, but it requires setup. So I'm gonna give it an 8.
Yeah, it's not just a guaranteed massive hit. It's
if this was a 3, cost, it'd be 10.
It'd be a 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it 8 as well.
Giving it a 7. Just based on
7.6.
This is probably a bad way to base it off of, but basing it off of playing Kano and having to try to set things up like that, trying to pull off big turns, it can be pretty tricky sometimes. So
Yeah.
I just think, mustaches, they help. But
I took like 15 damage the other day trying to set up a 15 damage turn.
yeah, because if you're trying to sit there and set something up, your opponent is able to also take that time to be able to set something up as well, because you're
For
not
sure.
attacking them, they're not
When your
defending.
opponent plays one card and then passes, or like just arsenals and passes, you're like, okay, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, I'm just gonna swing at you.
Yeah.
All right,
Still
7.6.
good card.
Still, very good card. Terrifying potential, especially if you're a light hero. I mean, look at that image. Just like
that could be hitting you for 20.
Oh yeah,
I would imagine
easily, depending on how many cards you put in your soul. For sure, could just be absolutely game ending. Surging Militia, and this is a common, so it has a yellow and blue with 4 and 3 attack respectively, and it is a 2-cost generic attack action. Defends for 2. It has +1 for each non-equipment card defending it, which is a little rude when you look at the math. So most cards are going to just straight up defend for 3. And so if they put 1 card up to defend this, it goes up to 6, and then you go throw in 1 more card, and now it's at 7, and 1 damage is getting through. Unless you've got a reaction and a card from hand, or you just do.
Would you run this in Mechanologist?
Why?
Don't you have a card that's it's the next attack action card you use hits? It does things?
No, so that's really, that's on their own card. Like those cards have to hit to activate the effects. Which, yeah, so like one that I really want to hit but has literally never hit anyone because it's so devastating is like, it's like a 2 for 4 attack, and if it hits, the next attack I boost gains +3 damage. And then, there's other ones where it's like, if it hits, your next attack gains Dominate, or the next attack you boost gains Dominate. But, yeah, it's like, I don't have reaction cards to give those effects. This is just like 2 for 7, basically, unless it just gets worse the more you try to defend it, and it's so rude.
Its fallback is defensive reactions, of course.
Yes.
But yeah.
But you only paid 2 for it.
Yeah, it's not a bad card by any means. It's a pretty good filler. It's probably going to be a cheap card, budget card for sure.
Yeah. No, it's like, it's not exciting. It's not obviously like super powerful, but it is like, it's like good. It is good. And like you said, like you could just throw this in and be like, that's a good card. And I'm going to give it a 6, but not in the way. This is not like me saying this is bad. It's just class cards are probably going to be better, but this is annoying and decent, and you might consider it. But you're first going to consider your like 7 class cards.
I'm going to give it a 5.
I'm going to give it a 5. Not great.
5.3.
Not horrible.
Yeah, I think it'll find its place, but it's not making waves.
Yeah. Draft. Probably pretty good addition to your deck.
Probably pretty good.
Once again, they ripped a Dominion card. There's literally a Dominion card called Militia.
But they're not surging. Okay, tear limb from limb. This is a majestic. So it's only blue pitch, 2 cost. No attack, no defense, brute action. Draw a card, then discard a random card. If a card with 6 or more attack is discarded this way, the next brute attack action you play this turn gains plus X damage, where X is its base attack. Go again. So you double the attack of your next card. You
with that card
its
earlier,
base.
It's a 16 for 2 or 16 for 3.
Which one's a 16?
Oh yeah, the first card.
Yeah, the first card. Or the other one could potentially be 24. Although to be able to play this and the Leviathan specialization would be some sort of miracle work.
Well, it's the base.
It says base attack.
Oh, that's
So
true.
if
even
it has,
so. Yeah.
But yeah, there's plenty of. I mean, you play that one mana or one pitch 6, 1 for 6. I mean, you're doing 12 for 3.
Yeah.
And you discarded a card, but you drew a card.
I think that this card kind of embodies Brute.
Yeah. Oh my god, he's got a leg in his hand. And entrails in the other.
So let's run this risk to potentially just double my damage.
I'm trying to. I think this is.
That's a great card.
I think this is a 10.
I think I'm in agreement. It has miss potential. Obviously, it's random, but we're kind of seeing. It seems like they really want to go heavy on the random, so can't really give it a drawback because of that. I think that's a big card.
I think it's a very low chance you miss when you are controlling your hand, and you'd really have to top deck a non-6 attack and then land exactly that card. But any other scenario, you're hitting them with very cheap, very high. Like the ratio of damage to pitch value when you combine this with any other brute card is just off the charts. You could even play. You don't even need more pitch. You could play Enlightened Strike for 0, and I guess you have to put a card on the bottom. But then your attack, and then you choose the +2, and you've got a 12 attack Enlightened Strike.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll go with a 10. I can't really think of anything that's a big drawback.
Holy moly!
So,
we got our
other than
first 10 out of 10 card.
The no defense is a little sad, but
this is such a crippling or game end. This is gonna take your opponent's entire hand and maybe some armor, or end the game. And God forbid you play this and then you play the card with +3 and dominate, and then attack with a card, and you have a 16 attack dominate card. Just the potential for this is so off the charts. Just nothing you can really do.
Yeah, you play that into Barraging Beatdown, into the 6 for 1 earlier, and you're hitting for 16 for 3. One pitch for 16. That's pretty brutal.
Yeah, that deserves the 10. Good. That's the 10 rating.
I'm gonna need to pick those up very quick.
Yeah. Yep, that's a pretty.
It's only in blue.
And it's blue itself, which is just
yeah.
That's what you want your specialty cards that only have one color to be. You want them to be blue because it's extremely powerful, and when you don't need to use it or can't use it really, it's 3 resources. It's fantastic. That was actually the last card.
Oh, that was?
All right.
Yep. The last card for day 3.
Let's go ahead and give it the obvious 10 for art.
Oh man, yeah, I agree. I give the art a 10.
There is no better brute art. I mean,
dude, he's on a pile of arms and legs, and there's a wolf head,
and he's just eating the guts, and he's got a leg in his arm.
Yeah, he's just I fucked those guys up.
Sure, I'll give it a 10.
Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right.
Oh yeah, I meant to write in power or strength and artwork, but people get it. You guys get it. Surging Militia. So this kind of gives me the same vibes as that Rally the Militia or Rally the Troops, kind of whatever that card was. It's better.
With that, I didn't like the other one that much. But the little kid's wearing a pot.
I'm giving it a 420 because he's a pothead.
420. And I'll give it a 7. It's a great scene, right? I mean, you've got the whole village, the pothead kid included, the old man here. Everyone is pissed off about something and they're going to fight. It's a great scene. The art style is just, I don't enjoy it, but it is a cool image regardless.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give it a 6.
So what's our average?
So question mark.
No, it's a 4.20.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll still. I don't want to do decimals. Let's move on.
4.2 divided by 3 is 5.7. The one time we'll allow a decimal vote.
You're lucky.
It's appropriate. Come on. The kid's a pothead.
Soul Harvest. I
10.
give this one a 10.
That's a 10. That's a gorgeous card.
This is another
Wha-
triple 10.
It made me speechless when you flipped to this card.
Oh yeah. Imagine if
Looked
it
at
wasn't
the
all
wall.
blurry right now. It's
I like
11 if we bring the mustaches back.
Yeah. Personally, I like this the way Levia looks in this so much more than her actual
oh
like,
yeah.
hero card.
Well, that's just like
Like-
standard baseline. I'm just chilling, Levia. This is killing intent, Levia.
Yeah,
but
look,
like
her tentacles have
her bone
turned into
armor-
like these spikes and
Yeah, that too. Like everything just looks better.
yeah,
Wonder if
it's
it
fan.
must be
It's
different artists.
it's incredible. It is who is it? Soyame.
I cannot read that on my screen.
But like it also just what the card does, you also destroy you banish all their soul if it hits, and like he's very clearly got some kind of light character up against, or she has like a light character up against the wall and is like, I don't know, right where you would imagine a soul would be contained, and just destroying this lady from the inside out. Just it's so thematically on point. It's a really great artwork of Levia, and it's just all around amazing.
Good.
Get out of there. Oops.
Oop.
Deep-rooted evil. I think it's a bunch of bodies. It's like
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
it's kind of, they're not skeletons. They're kind of that zombified looking kind of body where you're just kind of like a gray mass
Meat
of
tree.
skin. Yeah, just like meat. You got some like blood tentacles. It's pretty great. It's a little, the colors are a little dull for me. I'm gonna give it a 9.
I like the people just standing there looking at it.
Like holy
Oh,
crap.
that's good.
This actually looks a
When did
lot
this happen?
like Divinity 2 when you go to that island with the blood tree. This is like
Yeah.
almost exactly that.
Give it a 9.
No, I give it a 7.
I give it a 10. No. That's an 8, right?
8.3.
Pretty good art. Pretty good. The alternate art, Boneyard Marauder. I actually like this one
Worse.
less. I like
Yeah.
this one less than the other one.
I
I'm gonna
agree.
give it like a 4. I'm gonna give it a 4. I just, something about it. I don't like the shoulder tentacles. I don't like the character. I don't like what does he even do? He's just like, he was looking in a coffin and you caught him and he was like, ah. I don't know.
For
I don't
snacks.
really like
I
it.
know it's a promo, but the coloring doesn't feel like it matches everything else.
Mm.
And I also agree with the 4.
Giving it a 6 because it's got a moon in it.
It's a good move.
6s have nothing to do with moons, but
4.6.
now it does.
It's cool that you get this promo and it's rainbow foil, but the original is just better. Boneyard Marauder original.
Now, that is
art.
great.
Yep.
This is really good. You can see, I think he's like transforming. He's like being corrupted or something of the sort. His arm is, there's bone. I think that's bone. He's like decaying there. He's like, dark energy is like coming off of him like steam, and his skin is just kind of like evaporating. But he looks like he's meaning to do this. Like his red eye, the way he's looking, he's like, Yeah,
Well, look at the
I'm
quote.
I'm taking this dark power. It's amazing what you can find when you dig a little deeper. Okay. So he's like
Yeah.
powering up with dark energy, with shadow energy.
Without that quote, I give it an 8. But I think that quote tells us what's going on in the picture. If we don't know what's going on, it's not that great. But I think it's a 10 for me.
10. Yeah. Yeah. I'd also.
really think that's
I'd
good
do a
art.
10. I can't
that's not
find
usually my
anything
style.
wrong with it.
Going with an 8.
Mitch found
It's got a
something
moon.
with it.
I like the moons. They're pretty cool. But
9.2.
it's just not really like
Point
really doing it for me.
0.3.
That's what I meant. Just not doing it for Mitch though. Mutated Mass. I give this a 10.
That's kind of a funny. That's kind of a good,
It is-
funny image.
It is.
I
It's
like
also
it.
horrifying, and it's like
Yes.
you know it's coming down this like castle hallway. Yeah, and
Get
it
you.
Yeah.
you got all kinds of like giant creature bones.
It
and,
reminds
like,
me of something, but I can't put my finger on exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I also give it a 10.
I'm gonna give it an 8.
Just there's no moon here. What's saving it?
No moon.
9.3.
It or good job, Pavel Chuvin. Pavel
Yeah,
Chuvin.
We
Pavel.
have been keeping our eye open for Carlos. Maybe we'll
I've
meet
been
Carlos
looking.
someday.
How about
That's not
Michal
Carlos.
Spill
Goodness,
Hofter?
get rid of it. I hate it. I don't want it here. So maybe I guess
Love
that
it.
it's a 10, but I don't want it.
It invoked a lot of feeling in Bill.
It does. I don't like it. It makes me very uncomfortable.
I'm gonna give
really
it a
like it.
9. I get it. I would give it. I want to give it a 10 for the thematic and the horror, but the way it's kind of smudged, it's like slightly blurry. I don't. It really throws it off for me. Otherwise, it's perfect. If it was a little more
It's because
clear,
you're screaming.
and I get it. Like there's kind of this green
Shaking the
smog,
camera.
but yeah, it's a little fuzzy for me. But it
That's
is
actually
horrifying.
kind of why I like it. It helps. For me, helps set the scene and takes you to a place of just like
Pure wonder.
this pure wonder. Just like makes your skin crawl. At 10. I almost wish
9.6.
this wasn't a common card. I wish they had used this art on something a little bit more, but
Oof. Do not like.
Oh yeah, imagine if this is a really good card and gets played a lot. You're just
Yeah.
I
always
won't
seeing
like it.
Ooh,
this
yeah,
one.
I give this a 10.
He-
He looks great. I think he looks fantastic. I like the setting behind him. There's a lot of detail. He's in a foresty area. He's like a tree creature, and he's very menacing, bulky. Pissed off that you're there. I think he just looks really good.
You said 8, Mitch?
yeah, I like it. I don't like it a lot.
We'll give it an average of 9, and I'll give it a 9. I think there's just a little bit off about it from it being perfect for me. That's good though.
Yeah, very nice.
I like this look of a lot of those cards. In fact, every single one of them except the promo, I think I gave at least an 8.
Yeah, those
and the
scored
Militia.
really high. Those all
The
scored super
villagers,
high
yeah.
on our art score and power score. Actually, this was a very good batch of cards. Apparently, and that is the final
As
card.
far as
And we
our
are
smart brains are going.
we are at an hour again. It just seems like that's what it takes to review a handful of cards. Very consistent with that. All right, so we're gonna wrap up. We will be back tomorrow with the day 4 spoilers. I'm hoping so. Someone said they have a card that's going to make Archer players very happy, but they said tomorrow, like almost 2 days ago at this point.
Yeah.
But the time zones are out of whack. So I don't know when this card's supposed to come out, and I don't think it was any of the cards we've seen so far, because none of these neutral cards scream buff to Archer.
It'd have to be that generic would be the only one.
There's been a couple generics throughout the first throughout the first few days, but I don't think we've seen the card they were talking about. Fingers crossed for an Archer reveal tonight or tomorrow / the Thursday spoilers, I guess. So we shall see tomorrow and the next day. Thank you.
Yep.
And thanks again for watching, and we will see you tomorrow.